gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Let's get ready to rumble!
This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof.
Looking, throwing in the end zone. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Little roller up along first. Behind the man. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight and the Mets win it.
Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. All right.
It's not supposed to happen on Monday.
No, it's not. But, you know, I have a lot of reconfiguration going on. I told you this before. You know, you can obviously see walls are empty and all sorts of things are going on because we are reconfiguring my office a little bit here, trying to make it a little bit more organized, a little bit more user-friendly, and all of that kind of fun stuff. But today is Monday morning. It is Sports and Sorts. We have episode 156. We go live on YouTube every Monday and Saturday at 10 a.m. So if you like our videos, please be sure to give them a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel by hitting that subscriber button. If you hit the little bell, it'll let you know like every time that we go live. It'll like pop up in your email and all that kind of stuff if you want to hear that. If you want to hear about that from us, if you don't care, just subscribe and it'll let you know on YouTube when we go live. But I am one of your hosts. My name is Shane Moore.
I'm the Brian Man.
And you can also find this on as a podcast on iTunes, anywhere podcasts are played. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Shane and the Bryman, on Twitter at Shane and Bryman. Post all our videos and other newsworthy topics there. And lastly, if you comment during the show, we will put it up on the screen. Today, we got the NFL Divisional Round recap, some MLB talk, a little hot stove action maybe. There was something that happened over the weekend that I was really excited about. And also, Bryman has some stuff he wants to talk about Manny Machado. So we got a great show. Let's go.
You are listening to Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bryman.
All right, so first things first, we are going to get into some NFL Division Round stuff. And we both went 4 for 4 this weekend because nobody on this show is stupid enough to pick the Chargers over the Patriots, right? I mean, nobody would be stupid enough to do that. Time to put it together, bounce them Patriots out of the playoffs. Let's go Rivers. Let's go Chargers. 29-27. They have the more talented team. They just need to get on the board first and put the pressure on the Patriots. Well, I apparently said that the Chargers were going to win this game. And look, I said the Chargers needed to get on the board first, and they needed to get on the board often. And they didn't do either one of those things. And as soon as the Patriots scored first, I said out loud at home, well, I got this one wrong. Because whenever the Patriots score first, especially at home in the playoffs, they win. And I watched Rivers come down and score, and then I watched Brady come down and score again, and then I went to the grocery store and had a nice little Sunday. You know, I went to Staples, Walmart, Pier 1, and, if I had enough time, I might have gone to Home Depot or Bed Bath & Beyond. But, I needed to get back to watch the Saints versus the Eagles. So when it comes down to it, the Chargers defense totally let the Chargers down. That's it. They were like a sieve. It was brutal. They couldn't figure out the Brady, Belichick, McDaniels offense, and they got abused on national TV. But luckily for the Chargers, they have a good team, and most of them should return next year, and they will have a healthy Hunter Henry to start the season. So they will likely make the playoffs again. They will go in with the playoffs with some more playoff experience. And I mean, the good thing, I guess, of all this is that the Patriots are now going to be facing off a team that is of such great stature that every member has been given the title of chief. So I'm looking forward to talking about that game in a little bit. Obviously, we're going to probably talk about that more in depth on Saturday. But Chargers definitely let me down. You went with your I don't know what part of it that the Patriots have in you. I don't know if it's your heart, if it's your head, if it's your I don't know what it is, but you picked the Patriots to win because you just know that they're going to win.
Yeah, I mean, I do. You're right. I don't want to take too much credit for it, but you're absolutely right. It was, to me, this was like a given. It was an absolute given. I didn't necessarily know how it was going to go down. I just knew I didn't know what the score was going to be. I just knew what the final result was going to be. I knew it. In my heart, I absolutely knew it. No, as I told you on Friday, in my head, I was like, Chiefs are the better team. They're the better team. They're better defensively. They've been an offensive juggernaut all year. The Patriots, although are 11-5 and a 2 seed, have stumbled here and there and just they're starting to show cracks. Haven't looked like them all that stuff was in my head, but in my heart I said nobody is going into the Devil's Lair and winning in a playoff game. It just doesn't happen, and history is on my side here. It's on my side. Look, I mean, it wasn't like I was going out. I actually didn't feel like I was going out on a big limb to say that the Patriots are going to win a home playoff game. It's something that they always do. By the way, and as much as I hate to do it, because you know how much this stuff kind of bothers me. And anytime I have to tip my cap, anytime I have to tip my cap to the Patriots in any way, shape, or form, but there is an amazing statistic that took place as a result of this Patriot win. Okay. Tom Brady has now won more playoff games than any other quarterback has ever played. He's won 28 career playoff games. Peyton Manning has played in 27 career playoff games. Wow. So let that, try to digest that for a second.
Dynasty.
It's a horrible statistic. I hate it so much. But Tom Brady, let's just repeat it. Tom Brady has won 28 playoff games, including Super Bowls. Peyton Manning has won 27 career playoff games.
No, he's played in. You said no. What?
He's played in. I'm sorry. He's played. Excuse me. I'm sorry. He started 27 career playoff games. Yes. Tom Brady's won 28 playoff games. It's an unbelievable statistic. It really is. It's just abnormal.
Impressive. Especially with when you think of Joe Montana and all the success he had in the playoffs. But there wasn't as many rounds back then.
There weren't as many rounds because the wild card came into play, more in the modern era. But
he usually has a bye.
But even still, that's the other thing too. He normally has a bye. I mean, how many years has he not had a bye?
I don't know.
This was actually the closest that he came to not having one. I don't know. Look, we'll get into our championship game picks on Saturday, but you can take a wild guess as to where I'm going with that Chiefs-Patriots game.
All right. So, we both...
By the way, I'm gonna say one other thing that I've said many times on this show. I hate being right. I hate it.
You almost got the F-bomb. I could see
I did. It was close. It was close. It was right there. It was like...
I hate beating... Yeah, I think
fudge! But I didn't say fudge. Yeah.
You were so close. That was good.
That was close.
Good. Great job.
I'm trying.
New year, new Brian Man.
In some ways.
All right. So now we can get over. I mean that game was pretty much how I think most people thought it was going to happen. Like people that hate the Patriots fans, they saw at the beginning of the game, like I did. Like I said, I literally said out loud, "This game's over." They scored first, and I said the defense needed to show up, needed to stop Brady on the first drive, and then after that, what he needed to do was Philip Rivers needed to come down and score, but it was too late because they already let the Patriots score, so it was over.
I knew it was over not after they first scored, but when they scored to make it 14-7. I was looking at it, I was like, that Chargers defense just looks...
It looked terrible.
Completely... It just... I mean, it could have been anybody out there playing defense. It was just a disaster. It really, really was. Like you said, there were a sieve, holes everywhere. They looked completely bewildered. I don't know why you play. Why do you? You can't play. There were so many guys on Twitter that were saying this too, and my brother even texted it to me at the same time as I was reading it on Twitter. Why do you play zone defense against the Patriots?
So they can just move the ball up and down the field.
Right. That's the answer. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be able to make. Well, and what
that's
scares
that
me,
Lynn will know. Like going forward, this is
what
a
scares
playoff
me
experience for him.
I guess, but what scares me about that is Lynn he's a defensive guy.
I think he was wasn't he an offensive coordinator? No?
I thought he was a defensive guy. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I don't know.
But regardless, though,
you still need to know.
You have to know how to game plan against the Patriots, and playing zone defense against them is not. You can't. You cannot do it.
Pick you apart.
Man up, bump guys, make them uncomfortable. How many of those catches that Julian Edelman had? He was at least 5 yards open in a radius around him. Okay, so if you put a circle around Julius Edelman when he caught any of those balls at any given time, there were 5 yards clean around him. He was in no way.
Oh, he was running wild.
He was not. There were no contested balls that came his way, like none.
Patriots fans should be very, very happy with how that turned out. All right,
yeah.
Let's move on to the next game. We got the Colts versus the Chiefs. Mohamed Clown versus Captain Andrew Luck. And well, the game didn't go as the Colts had hoped. We both predicted that the Chiefs would win this game. I had the Chiefs winning, 35-30. You had it 27-24. It was nowhere near as close. But Captain Andrew Luck made a tweet shortly after the game, and he said, "Dearest mother, it is with a heavy heart I inform you our campaign has ended. Our unit fell to the Chiefs on a snowy battlefield. While disappointed, I am extremely proud of our accomplishments week after week, day after day, fight after fight. I shall see you soon." Andrew. So, great follow. Definitely go and follow him on Twitter. He's an amazing follow. But we both picked the Chiefs. We both got this right, except that it wasn't as close as we thought it was going to be. This was an absolute beatdown. The Chiefs' defense is getting a little bit better at the right time. Plus all of those weapons and having Sammy Watkins as your number 3 option to pass to. Yeah. I mean, this is pretty good. This team can really put up some numbers, and I'm going to be very interested to see the system that the Patriots put in place to play this Chiefs team. Because as of now, the Chiefs don't have many holes on offense. They have like 0 holes. Like even their backup running back, who they're using now,
he's doing
a good job.
He's going to be their starter next year. I'm telling you.
I would not be shocked if he is. I just don't think he's that dynamic. I think there's something about that line that.
Oh, sure. Him. I mean, the line is an obvious help. Yeah. I mean, look, when he was on the Dolphins, he was like their number 4 guy on their depth chart until eventually he moved up to like number 2.
He's just in a good system right now, and I have a feeling that this is going to be a redo of what we saw in the regular season. I just hope the Chiefs come out on top. And not just because I can't stand the Pats, but because Andy Reid really needs this.
Oh, God, does he need this in the worst way.
Patrick Mahomes. I love him so much, and he needs this so much. Like
he doesn't need it, but Reid needs it.
They both need it. I mean, this is a team. You don't know how your team's going to be next year as far as like how health-wise goes. You are so close, you can taste it. And this could set you on a more of a Hall of Fame. This could be like a Mount Rushmore.
My point is the Chiefs are set up. There's a longer window. There's a bigger window for them for success in the next, let's say, 5 years than there are for the Patriots. At some point, Tom Brady will either die of old age or he'll retire.
But he's going to live till he's 140.
I know he is with that all the yoga that he does and all that crap. But look, the Chiefs' window is still open. Let's put it that way. It's not closed. But I certainly agree that Andy Reid needs this. There is still, I mean, yes, this win was important. It was a good win against a very good team, by the way. Mm-hmm. But he still has a monkey on his back because, and you know what? And in many ways, I actually
a lot of these games.
He has. In many ways, I think that for him, in a weird way, he should almost be happy that it played out the way it did, because now, if he can get to this Super Bowl, he's been to a Super Bowl before, but if he can get to this Super Bowl here with this team and this quarterback,
he's going through the Lions' den.
He will. Well, he's not going through the Lions' den, but he's going through the line.
He's going through the line. All right.
He's going through the line. Luckily, it's not in Foxborough because then I would tell you right away what my pick is going to be, and you know what it would be. But at least he can say, I got one, and I got through the Patriots this time. And I think that will take a big monkey off of his back. I really do. I don't know if it'll be like Steve Young getting the Joe Montana monkey off his back, because I think ultimately you still got to win. You have to win in order to truly get it off your back. But this would be a very big step for him, and one that I think he desperately needs. And look, he needs to show that he can go head-to-head with the master and beat him.
This will be very interesting to see if he can actually go in, beat the Patriots, who they lost to during the regular season, and then go in and play someone like the Rams, who they lost to during the regular season. Like, beat those teams that you played in the regular season, and then show that you could change your game plan enough to come out on top in those games, and that would be would be huge. But I'm really looking forward to this game, because if there is a team that could keep up with this Patriots team, if they get behind early,
it's certainly the Chiefs. Yes.
The Chiefs are absolutely one of those teams.
But in theory, you would have thought that about I would have thought that about the Chargers too. I would have thought if anybody could keep up with them if they got behind, it would have been the Chargers. But
just totally stunk.
Right. Well,
but I think like the Chiefs can overcome their terrible defense, whereas the Chargers, they're not going to put up 40 points. Like, that's hard for them. Whereas the Chiefs put up almost 40 points every game. Like, that's what I mean. Like,
that's very true. I mean, that I will give you that. If you're the Patriots, you need to score 40 probably to win this game.
Pretty close.
I would say, or at least be up there. Unless your defense,
be in the mid-30s.
Unless you have that defense so dialed up.
Yeah.
And then there's this like really weird part of me too, and I will grant you, it's a very small part. Because by all indications, Brian Flores, who is the defensive play caller for the Patriots and their linebackers coach, is going to be the next coach of the Miami Dolphins. It's basically a done deal. They just can't announce it until after, the Patriots are either eliminated or until they win the Super Bowl. Oh my God, please. But so there's this like small percentage of me that wants over the course of the next couple of weeks to actually see the Patriots continue to play well on defense, because I want to believe that this guy that they're putting all their eggs in this basket on is going to be that this guy is a real legit coach. Here's the other problem though. Ultimately, and when I say it's a small percentage, I mean like 1%, because ultimately I think this still comes down to, this is the Belichick team. It's a Belichick defense. Any success that they're having defensively is because of him. And yes, maybe Brian Flores has some part in that, but ultimately this is all Bill Belichick. So I actually really just want the Patriots to get smoked out of the building this weekend.
Because if you look at it, ultimately, like everybody was talking about how great Matt Patricia was, as I like to call him.
Right, and look how that turned out.
Patricia. That's what I like to call him. And now look at their defense; it's still very similar with
still
terrible talent. Like, they just bend don't break kind of deal, and that's what. Yep. And actually, yesterday they did more than that. They were actually a good defensive team yesterday.
Yes.
I think they played good. Against the Chargers team.
Very well. Yeah. They only let up when the game was out of hand.
Yeah, I mean, really. All right, so I just have to play this clip real quick because I just love this guy so much, and I really hope that he takes a win from them. What's going on? Why isn't it playing?
So, little children, what have we learned, if nothing else? Don't play that! Very good.
Yes, homie, don't play that. Come on, Patrick Mahomes. Gotta get the win. Come on. I'm so excited. All right, let's go. Let's get into the Cowboys versus Rams. We'll touch on the Eagles-Saints last, but the Cowboys versus Rams, the dual threat of C.J. Anderson and Todd Gurley was just way too much for the Cowboys. C.J. Anderson.
There's your story of the weekend.
Yeah, there was too much for the Cowboys and Zeke to overcome. Zeke didn't even really show up. The game should have been like even worse than it was, but the Cowboys couldn't catch the ball. The Rams couldn't catch the ball on defense. They were having a really tough. There was a couple of interceptions that were just slipped through people's hands. But regardless, this was a pretty good win for the Rams. The defense the defensive front they put up and held Zeke to like nothing, which is something that I had been hoping for, to see glimpses of this all season, and they never really got it done. Yeah. But we finally got that. It was in a big game. But I am a little bit worried going forward Jared Goff hasn't been as sharp in the last several games as he.
Yeah.
And he wasn't sharp, and he was not sharp in this game either.
No.
He was not great. He missed a lot of
throws.
Issue.
It's an issue.
They need him to be better to win it all, and actually, I mean, heck, they are going to need him to be really sharp just to get to the main stage past Drew Brees. This is going to be a really tough battle. It's two coaches that are very, I don't want to say similar, because Peyton's a little bit more outspoken and a little bit more of a douche. But he is a very respected, and Sean McVay is very respected, a very young coach, and up-and-coming offensive genius, as they like to call. I can't wait to see how this game plays out. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. But what I saw yesterday was good, but not great. I'm a little worried about Jared Goff going forward.
I would be too. We've talked about many times things that tend to haunt you in the regular season usually come back to bite you in the postseason. Yep. And Jared Goff's poor play, especially towards the end of the season, definitely concerns me. I mean, you really, because one of the things that really encouraged me about Patrick Mahomes the other day was he pretty much looked like the guy in that game that he looked like all season. He was dynamic. He was finding open guys. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember how many touchdowns he threw for in that game. I don't know if he threw for 2 or 3, but
who, Goff?
No, Mahomes, in the game. But my point is that Mahomes carried over well from the regular season into his first postseason game.
Absolutely.
But Goff is, unfortunately, he's carrying over the same from his most recent, regular season game. So that concerns me a little bit. Especially when you're going to be on the road against a team that, I'm sorry, you're going to have to expect to play better than they did this weekend against the Eagles. They're not going to, the Saints are not going to have that kind of a dud of the game again against the Rams. They will play up to the competition. They've already beaten the Rams once in the Dome, so there is a little of that we're in your head thing going on because, been there, done that. We beat you. We'll do it again. And look, for the Saints, the window is obviously closer to closing than it is to opening. Yes, they have a lot of young talent, but let's be honest, this is all built around Drew Brees. So how many opportunities does he really have left to go to a Super Bowl? Him and Peyton together, that's a very, very, very tight window. You're looking at maybe another couple of years probably beyond this one. So for the Saints, you really do have to kind of get it done. But look, the Rams they were good. They still score. Here's the thing about the Rams, though. Even when they don't play well, they can drop 30 on you. I mean, they can drop 30 on you based on talent alone. So, look, I'll give you a little spoiler. I am going to, even though my preseason pick for the Super Bowl was Rams Patriots, which, is still alive. I will probably end up going in another direction to, before we get to our picks this weekend, because I think I really like the Saints at home there. That being said, it wouldn't shock me at all if the Rams went in and won that game. Not in the least. But you know what? Goff is going to have to show up, and this is going to be a big game. There's going to be a lot of nerves on the road in a very loud Superdome. He's going to have to play better than he did this week. He will not beat the Saints if he plays the way he did against the Cowboys.
The biggest thing, the toughest thing is that the Saints, they have, who was the best defensive team in the league this year? Especially for rushing against the run. It's the Chicago Bears. They were diesel. The New Orleans Saints only gave up 0.2 yards more per game.
Yeah, no, they're good.
They are the number 2 best rushing defense in the league, and that is something that, with a team like the Rams, who like to play action a lot, they do a lot of play action. They have to get the run going. Now, hopefully, with having the dual threats, because they have the Alvin Kamara and Ingram over on the Saints. Yeah. Now you have C.J. Anderson and Gurley. That will help. That will help this situation a little bit more, and it proved so against the Cow. And that Cowboys defense is no joke. And
you're going to need it because if Goff's going to play this way, if he's going to play 60 to 70%,
more. He can't miss those throws, those wide open throws. He can't miss them anymore. It'll be very
I would suspect too that the Rams will probably have a dink and dunk kind of game plan for a couple of reasons. Yeah. One, he may not, if he's just not throwing well, you're not going to have those options downfield. But if he can kind of dunk his way down the field with Gurley, especially with Gurley, that will help keep the Saints offense off of the field and chew some time off of the clock too. And it may, he may not have too many other ways to get down it, but the play action will still come into play.
This is going to be a true test for the Saints, for the Rams defense, the run defense.
Well, I think it's a big test for both of these defenses, to be honest. It really is.
I think it's bigger just because the Rams had done such a bad job against the run all year, and now they have to go up against a dynamic. Like, they don't just have to go up against Zeke. They have to go up against. They have to go up against Kamara, who is a extremely versatile running back, and Ingram, who will just kind of he'll plow you over. I mean, he's a strong back. So they have two guys who are just going to keep pounding them, and it'll be interesting to see if they can keep up that rush defense, kind of like they did against Zeke. They really held Zeke.
Yeah, and what's scary too, like yesterday from the Saints' perspective, is like Kamara wasn't great yesterday. He had his touches and he got some, but that scares me, because. On average, it almost seems like he's going to give you 150 yards and a touchdown or two every game, and that just really, really scares you. So, I don't know. It's going to be tough sledding for the Rams for sure. But if they can do it though. Yeah, if they win, I'm sorry, you can't sit there and say that was like a real underdog victory. They were a great team all year.
Yes. No. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, so let's get into Eagles versus Saints. We can do a little
Dilly.
Philly. So this we came out. We had both picked the Saints to win.
Yes. I think I had the Saints big.
You had the Saints winning by 18. I had the Saints winning by 10. So I had it a closer game. I thought that the Saints would have it kind of in hand. But I thought and the Saints should have won by 9. They missed a field goal.
Yeah.
That's whatever. It happens. It's been happening a lot this year. But there was a guy, Joel A., who came on and posted, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to be bringing this stuff up. I'm going to be putting it on the screen here. Boom. All right, let's see if I can get it on there. Hold on. No, it's not going to go up there. All right, it's not going to go on the screen, but I will read you. I'll read you the clip. Here it is. He just said that we had bad analysis. Who ended the season strongest in the league? Eagles. Number 1 offense and number 2 defense in the last 6 weeks. That matters. Saints ended the season with a whimper. This will be like a preseason game for their offensive line, as they haven't fully played together in a long time and will take time to adjust. That's going to be the difference in this game. Eagles will start fast and win wire to wire. Then y'all can shut up about the magic ends, comments, and disrespect that you are giving the world champs.
Hold on. Okay.
Wait. They got a chip on their shoulder. That's their edge. Karma is a B after the first game, where they ran up the score 50%, depleted lineup on the defense. Way different team right now. 8-point underdogs. LOL. Man, Vegas keeps getting them wrong, and bringing in old Dusty Lombardi trophy with $200K in cash reeks of desperation, and a coach who is worried his team's head is not in playoff mode and needs motivation. That will have zero to do with the outcome. All the other teams are aware of this payout too. Eagles know about it very well in their recent history, winky face. We've seen this in sports too many times and totally believe that the Saints peaked too soon in the season and will not win it all regardless.
God, this is like an awful run-on sentence. Okay.
No, I mean, it wasn't. I just didn't.
I mean, look. At any point, the thing I'm taking away from that is that somehow we disrespected the Eagles. As far as I'm concerned, we pretty much were praising the Eagles most of the season, especially because they're one of the few teams that I can remember in recent history that somehow bucked the Super Bowl hangover trend. Yeah. And I actually was going to say some nice things about the Eagles today, and I will continue to do so.
Except
first of all,
they might not have their.
For starters, though, that post was just. I mean, yeah, you got it all out. It felt like you were just flushing a toilet, and it all came out, and that's great. I'm happy for you, but and I hope that was therapeutic and cathartic for you. But But there really wasn't, I mean...
It just got to suck today when you wake up morning.
Right, you wake up this morning and Shane and the Brine Man were right.
Yeah. And I appreciate the comment. I do. I even liked it because I have no problem with anyone or anybody else having an opposite opinion of us.
Completely fine. But
at the top of the show, I messed up. I said I had messed up, and I am man enough to do that. So I hope he can also man up and say, you know what? I was wrong. Even though it was a fun, hard-nosed game, we lost. And I had the Saints, I had the Saints winning by 10. They lost. They won by 6. They should have won by 9. But the missed field goal, like I said, and I really think that's the story of the year. How many kicks and important kicks were missed in general this year, and it'll only be fitting if the Super Bowl ends on a missed field goal.
And look, I mean, this guy might have been right if Alshon Jeffrey holds on to the ball, because I actually think I kind of think the Eagles might have won the game. Look, after he missed that field goal, I was like, oh my God, I think the Eagles are going to win this game. Because, Big Dick Nick is, I'll tell you what, he's a special player. That's what they call him, by the way. There's a reason why. I'm sure. We don't. I guess he's pretty well put together. Anyways,
Brady walks on the field. You are well within your right to throw a big floppy on that field.
Word on the street is Big Dick Nick is well endowed. So I don't know. I mean, I guess that leaked out of the locker room or the shower or whatever. But anyways, I have a lot of love for the Eagles. There were some instances during yesterday's game where I was like, man, it's kind of a shame that they are out of the playoffs, because I'll tell you what, that is a really, really good team. I mean, they are so supportive of each other. They are everything. They actually almost remind me of like a little league team, because they even when stuff goes bad, Alshon Jeffrey, that ball gets through his hands, he goes to the sideline, and like the first 3 people that greet him and put their arms around him and give him support are the coach, the quarterback, and the backup quarterback. Well, the injured quarterback, Carson Wentz. Yeah. So like you could argue like the 3 most important people on the team, Peterson, Foles, and Wentz, all go over to him. And they're there to support him. They put their arms around him. They hug him, and whatever they're saying to him, that is a team. The Eagles are made of special stuff. They really are. They absolutely were a special team. And you know what? The talent game basically just caught up to them yesterday, because ultimately the Saints are a better and more talented team. That was a tough hill to climb yesterday for Philadelphia. On the road, in a hostile environment, against one of the greatest quarterbacks who's ever walked the face of the planet, and a coach who is very, very good and equal to the task. That was a tough hill to climb, and you damn near climbed it. There should be nothing. You should have nothing but pride if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan today. Mm-hmm. You really should, because that team just conducts itself so well, and they honestly are a pretty class organization from top to bottom. They really handle losing well, and that's not an easy thing to do, because most of us are pretty sore losers, and sometimes rightfully so. But I got to tip my cap to the Eagles. I mean, look, they ran into a better team. They got off to a great start. You could argue they should have won the game. Maybe they should have. But you had to know a team like the Saints, even down 14, they were not going to pack it in. That was not going to be the Chargers in Foxborough. There was no way. The Saints were going to come back. The only question was whether or not they were going to win. Yeah. But they were going to come back.
And now there's a lot of talk that Foles isn't going to be back next year. But you know what? They said that after the last year, too. And
they've said
I would not be. He seems to really, really like it there. And he could have had a starting job somewhere else this year.
And he will have. I mean, look.
Now, it all depends on him. He chose to be the backup quarterback, because he's like, I don't need to be the star. I don't have to be. I just want to be on a team that I really enjoy playing for, because he had times before where he was miserable playing a quarterback, and he doesn't want to go back to that situation. He's in a team, so he might come back. There is a chance.
You don't hear this a lot in sports, but that team, you can tell, especially because of the head coach, is a very nurturing environment. Oh, yeah. I mean, it really is. I mean, I can see why a person would want to stay there and maybe even take less money, or maybe even throw away an opportunity to be a starter.
Yeah.
Here, the thing with Nick Foles is this year, of course, if he gets franchised again, it's $20 million. But you know what? If you're the Eagles, you can absorb that, because Carson Wentz doesn't make anything.
Right.
Not yet. Eventually he's gonna, as long as he stays. If Carson Wentz is healthy, it was funny, and that's been kind of a debate, is, do the Eagles actually try to trade Wentz because of his value, because he makes no money, and because of, my God, think of the king's ransom they could get, and keep Foles, or do you let Foles walk and say, hey, Carson Wentz is still my guy? Tim, our friend Tim Callahan, and I were going back and forth on this last night, and I was definitively in the camp of, you got to keep Carson Wentz, because the thing you got to remember about Carson Wentz, and you brought it up before, is that guy was a runaway MVP at almost this time a year ago. Remember? I mean, Carson Wentz was going to win the MVP award last year, and then he got hurt. Mm-hmm. He had it in the bag, and then he got hurt.
And they probably would have won the Super Bowl.
And I actually think they still would have won the Super Bowl, regardless of whether or not he was, Foles or not.
It was a magical story because Foles.
It was. Of course it was. But Carson Wentz to me is the kind of guy you want to build a team around. That's not to say that Nick Foles isn't, but Nick Foles is 29 years old. He's a little bit old. Although in this quarterback league, the guy's probably got another decade left in him because this is a league that protects the quarterback. But I'll tell you, to me, it's kind of a no-brainer. Why? Because I think if you say, well, I want to keep Nick Foles and trade Carson Wentz for draft picks and all that, to me, that's like a sign of overthinking. I think you're overthinking it. Carson Wentz is a better, more talented quarterback. His future in this league, to me, is still brighter than Nick Foles. Now, Nick Foles will always have that moment. He'll always have it. You can't take it away from him. It's literally immortalized in a statue outside of the link. But Carson Wentz is, to me, as talented and gritty a guy as you could possibly want.
He's a Hall of Fame player. He's that caliber player.
If he's healthy, yes, if he's healthy. Yeah. So to me, it's kind of a no-brainer of a debate, to be honest. I think you keep Wentz and you let Foles move on. Look, let Foles, if he's that good, he will blossom elsewhere. He really will. Open the cage and let the bird fly, Yeah. Let him go. And, although I will say this, if you're Foles, I can kind of understand why you'd want to stay put again, because you did have a chance to go elsewhere and it did not work out.
He hated it. He retired. He almost quit football. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
There's a chance. There's a chance he might stay.
He might just say, just tag me again. I'll live with the franchise tag and we'll play this 1 year at a time. Mm-hmm. Maybe. Maybe
he retires. Like if Wentz plays the whole season, maybe he just says, all right, yeah.
I will tell you, that would really speak to the nurturing nature of the Philadelphia Eagles, which seems strange because you're talking about a Philadelphia team and a city that just has such a crappy reputation. But tip of the cap to them though. The Eagles were on a magical run. It had to end at some point. It did at the hands of a team that may be the best in football. If you're an Eagles fan, I'm sorry, you can be disappointed, but you really shouldn't be mad at the way it turned out yesterday. Yeah. It's not like you were up 21-0 or 28-0 and you let that team storm back on you. You were up 14. It never got worse than that. It never got bigger than that. I mean, look, 14 points, that's 2 touchdowns. I mean, if you're the Saints, you can score 2 touchdowns in your sleep. So
in the next 2 drives.
It's just, right. I mean, it's just nothing that you can be upset about if you're an Eagles fan.
We also need to give some shine to Michael Thomas. I mean, he was an absolute beast yesterday.
He's a man.
Beast. I love that guy. I drafted him in multiple leagues this year. And he is an absolute beast. He is like, and I think we've mentioned this before. He's kind of like a Jerry Rice kind of thing. Like he's just.
I have used their names in the same sentence.
I mean, he's not. We are not saying.
No,
they are even, but they are similar players. Like they're not the fastest player. They just have great hands and they run great routes. That's what they do, and that is something that I respect about Michael Thomas because he is not the most athletic wide receiver. He's not even probably top 20 most athletic wide receivers in the league. But you know what? He is a top 5 receiver because he is just so methodical about running his routes and catching the ball when it's thrown to him. And he is a beast when he does it. And he's strong.
Yeah. Well, Tim and I do our postseason bet every year, and we both have the Saints winning the Super Bowl in that bet. And and our tiebreaker is MVP. So he had Breeze, and I went with Michael Thomas.
Ooh.
So we'll see how that plays out. But Michael Thomas is a special, special player. Ugh. God. He just runs impeccable routes. Just
I
beautiful.
don't think the Saints are going to get there, but I don't think they're going to have the trophy. I just don't think they're going to do that this year. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, so we have a couple of games next week: Rams versus Saints, Patriots, Chiefs. When it comes down, I'll give a quick little. I'm just going to do a quick little analysis on this. I think the Rams and Saints game is going to come down to defense. Who can stop the other team's run game, and the Patriots and the Chiefs. I just can't wait to see the game plan that the Patriots come up for with the Chiefs, and to see if the Chiefs can actually either change what they're doing to win, or if they can just plow through them. I'm very interested to see how it goes. I cannot wait. All right, now let's get into some MLB. We got the
play ball.
We got some MLB stuff here.
Yeah.
The Bryman.
Oh wow!
That crowd's so loud today.
Woo.
Jeez.
Hot. Toast.
Jeez,
Toast.
Jeez,
Toast.
Yeah, seriously. Crowd's so fired up today. They're like, oh, finally we're getting to baseball. All right. So the Bryman, he just wants you to stop using the phrase generational talent.
Oh, I hate it.
I want you to elaborate on this. Like,
I
understand what
phrase.
you're talking about. I do, because there's a couple of players in the league right now that like one, Mike Trout. You could put that.
That's a generational talent. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. I hate the phrase. I've seen it so many. I cannot tell you how many articles I have read this year, especially because of this offseason where you had Bryce Harper and Manny Machado available, where they talk about both of these guys being generational talents. Oh, you're watering down that phrase. That is, I'm sorry. Look, Bryce Harper and Manny Machado are going to get paid a lot of money, but that does not make them generational talents. To me, like, that's a phrase you gotta just
wallets.
You gotta just stop throwing the phrase around. You're watering it down. I'm sorry. Look, when I think of generational talents, there's like a handful of names that come to mind.
Mantle, Ruth.
Mays, Mantle, Ruth, Koufax, Mike Trout for sure. But when you say
one of my favorite players of all time is Joe DiMaggio. I don't think he had generational talent.
He was a great hitter.
He was a great hitter, a great defense player, but he wasn't like he was an exceptional player.
Now,
he's not generational.
I'm actually almost okay, even though it's way too early in his career. But and of course he played like half the year. I'm actually okay if you kind of almost want to throw that label on Shohei Ohtani because of what he's doing, because of the fact that he's a dual threat. That to me is a better definition of something like a generational talent. Manny Machado's a good baseball player. That's it. He's not a generational talent. Bryce Harper is a good baseball player. Bryce Harper, I think, has got a little bit of a special it factor, but is he a generational talent?
They both had bad years.
Yeah, they played their. Well, no, Machado had a good year.
No, in their careers, they both have had bad years. Generational talents don't typically
rarely have bad. But that's just that phrase bothers me so much.
Like Babe Ruth, where he hits 60 home runs in a league that's hitting like 12.
Right.
That's generational talent.
Well, let's remember though, we probably shouldn't call Babe Ruth a generational talent because he'd only be a 140 hitter on this level in today's Major League.
Well, in that generation. For that generation.
And he'd be struck out every time by Adam Ottavino, a guy, by the way, who's still unemployed. So, I mean, maybe we shouldn't call Babe Ruth a generational talent. Maybe he's just a hot dog eating 150 hitter in today's modern era.
Well, in 80 to 100 years from now, Shohei Ohtani will only bat 140 in that league.
Right.
And he's not going to be able to strike anybody out. In that league, it's just going to be too good.
But honestly, I'm actually more okay with somebody saying Shohei Ohtani is a generational talent as opposed to Manny Machado. There is nothing generationally talented about Manny Machado. He's just a really good baseball player. In fact, unfortunately, when I see Manny Machado, I think more of Robinson Cano, a guy who's incredibly talented but lacks the drive to be truly great. That's kind of what I see with a guy like Manny Machado.
Okay.
I mean, because I hate guys one who don't hustle, and I hate guys more who actually tell you they don't hustle, and who are dirty. I mean, look, he's dirty, but you know what? Actually, you can put that stuff aside. Just look at the production from Manny Machado from the time he's been in baseball already for like six or 7 years. He's been around for a long time already.
Oh yeah.
He was basically plucked out of high school and came in right away. He's played at the big league level for a while. He feels like he's been around forever, and he's only 26. But if you look at him, like from a production standpoint, there's nothing generational about it. I mean, they're good numbers. He's a talented guy. He projects to maybe be a Hall of Famer, but is he going to be?
He's not a top 20 best third baseman of all time. He's not a top 100 hitter of all time. Like he's not. Like you're right. He's a good to great baseball player.
He's a good baseball player.
But,
a really good baseball player who's going to probably be making way more money than he should. Mm-hmm. But you know what? And actually that kind of leads into the other hot.
That's the thing is, like, I don't even think he's probably not even in the conversation. I don't know if he's in the conversation as a top 10 best player in baseball now.
I'd have to really think
Mookie
about
Betts,
it.
Better.
Well, Trout, Betts,
better.
There's a number of guys I would say Goldschmidt. It was actually going to be my next guy. I would easily put over Machado. I would probably put Harper over Machado. Arenado, I would put over Machado. Harper? Yep, absolutely. I mean, if you're going to include pitchers on it, then forget about it.
Yeah,
if
you're
just going to do Scherzer, if you're going to just do position players, I still think there's probably enough guys that you could get over him. Yeah. It'd be close. He'd be in the conversation. But the fact that you can't even definitively say he's a top,
I would argue Anthony Rendon's better than him. Like he's more on like the Chris Bryant level. Like that's where he's at. Like he's a good ball player. But
I'd rather have Chris Bryant.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I'd rather have Chris Bryant.
I mean, he's willing to go wherever you want him to play, and
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
So I'm sorry if you're gonna just stop throwing that phrase around. It's a silly phrase. It should be used for to me, if
Manny Machado has Robinson Cano's career at where Robinson Cano is right now, that would be tremendous for Manny Machado.
To me, I mean, if you want to really boil it down, in Major League Baseball right now, there are 700 players in Major League Baseball. I believe one of them is a generational talent, and his name is Mike Trout. And that's it. That's it. If you really want to boil it down. Is the potential there for Ohtani? Absolutely, because he's a two-way player. And as long as he continues to be a two-way player, then yes. And if he is successful at it, then without a doubt, he will be considered a generational talent. But as of right now, Mike Trout is the best baseball player of our generation, hands down. And he is a generational talent.
He's the best baseball player since the Mantle era.
No problem with him having that label. None.
I honestly think that. I truly believe that.
I don't even
he is
think
the best baseball player since Mays and Mantle.
I don't even think any of the pitchers in today's eras or in current modern league, Major League Baseball. I don't even think there's a pitcher that you could label right now as a generational talent. I would say not, and it's only because of his postseason lore. But Mad Bum is just a special guy. Yeah. But I can't call him generational talent.
I mean,
there's absolutely. I mean, Scherzer, sure. Yeah, see, but again, these are guys. They're great. They're great. They're probably future Hall of Famers. But I can't.
Scherzer's getting in the Hall of Fame.
Verlander's you want to talk? The first name that pops into my head as a pitcher, as a generational talent, was Sandy Koufax, who I still believe is the greatest pitcher who ever lived. And despite the fact that his numbers were nowhere close to really backing that up,
Randy Johnson was a generational talent.
Yes, he absolutely was, without a doubt. Without a doubt. But that's just a phrase that, you got to just dial it back a little bit. Mm-hmm. Now, so that sort of does lead us into a little bit of hot stove news.
Yes.
Right now, the favorites in the clubhouse, by the way, leaders in the clubhouse to land Harper and Machado, respectively, are the Philadelphia Phillies and the Chicago White Sox. The Phillies had the Phillies had a 5-hour meeting with Harper over the weekend. And it does seem like, according to a number of different outlets, that they are, according to sources, they are definitely the leaders in the clubhouse for Philly. And it looks like the Nationals, who were going to be, I thought he was going to end up going back to the Nationals. It looks like they're basically saying, whatever Philadelphia is offering is just too rich for our blood. We can't afford to pay him more than $25 million a year. And as long as there's another team out there that's willing to set the bar higher and reestablish his value at above that, he's not going to go back to Washington. He's going to be a Philly, in my opinion. Machado, it looks like by default,
through the roof.
Yeah, and it looks like by default, now there are rumors out there that there is an 8-year, $250 million offer for Machado, although Bob Nightingale, who I don't really trust, said the only offer still on the table from the White Sox is still a 7-year deal, which would probably be in the 210 to 220 range. Either way, he's by default probably just ending up in Chicago. The Yankees are going to be out for a reason that you and I will talk about in a moment, that you and I think are both very happy about. A lot of Yankee fans are not. There's quite a split among Yankee fans right now. Honestly, it's so down the middle with this Manny Machado thing. And I actually think, from a Yankee fan perspective, it's less about Manny Machado specifically and more about, well, why not? You went into this offseason where you had gotten beneath this threshold, and there was this impression, although never a guarantee, but there was this impression that the Yankees were going to spend like drunken fools, and they were going to get one of Harper or Machado, and that's not going to happen. Now, I am very happy about that, if not relieved. I would have liked Harper only because, again, I feel like Bryce Harper does have a bit of a special it factor, even though he's kind of alienated himself a little bit in his own clubhouse, and I think throughout baseball, I think there's a lot of guys who don't like him. But I still feel like he's got a special it factor. That being said, I am not heartbroken in any way, shape, or form that the Yankees have passed on both of these guys.
Yeah.
For a number of reasons. One, I hate the idea of carrying 2 mega deals on your roster. It just clogs up it clogs up the team payroll, and it really stunts your ability to be active at the trade deadline. 2, and way more importantly, is at some point down the road, Yankees, you're going to have to pay Aaron Judge. You're going to have to pay Luis Severino. By the way, they did themselves no favors with Luis Severino this weekend because they went cheap on their offer in arbitration to him, and that could bite them in the ass the same way that it could bite them this coming offseason when Dellin Betances is a free agent. Because as you recall, a couple of years ago, Betances went through this with the Yankees. They went cheap on him in arbitration and trying to negotiate, and they went to arbitration and it got ugly. Yep. Betances is going to be a free agent after this year, which is why signing Britton was even more important. But here's the thing. You're going to have to pay Judge. You're going to have to pay Judge. You're going to have to pay Severino. At some point, you're going to have to pay Didi. You're going to have to pay Glaber down the road. And if you keep Andujar, you're going to have to pay him down the road. There are a handful of guys that the Yankees are going to have to take care of. And if you want to keep this core together like I do, you're going to have to address that in the near future. You cannot do it, Judge being the biggest one. You're not going to be able to do it if you're carrying 2 mega deals. You just will not be able to do it. So to me, the Yankees passing on these 2 guys, to me, is not an indication of them being cheap. It's an indication of saying
we're
more heavily.
This is good. This is good news.
Well, yes, it is. We're more heavily invested in keeping our guys together because we know, right, just like the dynasty teams did. We know that this core can win a championship. We're way, way more concerned with keeping these guys together than we are with bringing in outsiders, because those outsiders are not there to plug holes. Those guys are there to take jobs. I'm sorry, but if you sign Machado, you got to get rid of Andujar. There's basically no other way around that. Well, unless you're going to have him play first base.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what we're looking at. Is I think that because they did something that I have been championing.
I'll let you break
since
that.
The very beginning.
Yeah.
The man I've been pining for all after the season's been over.
I got to tip my hat to you, by the way. I never saw this coming.
And because Brian Cashman obviously listens to the show and holds my opinion in very high regards. We got DJ LeMahieu and our buddy from who comes on the show every once in a while. He writes for SNY, Chris Corelli. He had put on here, he said, despite the notion that LeMahieu is going to be an uber infielder, he's played 94.8% of his MLB games at second base and plays the keystone quite well. And that is what I've been talking about
time Gold Glove winner
since the get-go, is that he is an excellent second baseman.
Yes.
You had one of the worst second basemen in Glaber Torres last year. He doesn't have much range. He doesn't have there is just issues with Glaber Torres where I think he would fit better at third. Now, I don't know if they're going to move him to third for the long term. I think what they're going to try and do.
I'd be okay with that, at least for this. These 2 years.
Because I think what's going to happen is I think they're going to see where they are halfway through the season. I think you're going to have Andujar get traded. It's either Andujar or Torres is going to get traded for Nolan Arenado. And I think that Nolan Arenado is going to be like, we are going to sign you, and then because we are going to trade for you, and then we are going to keep you. We are going to blow you away with an offer afterwards, and we're going to have you be our third baseman. And that's going to be the big signing that they're going to be going forward with. It's going to be less than the Machado and the Harpers, and they're still going to have some.
Be on board with it.
But I do think that they're going to give Andujar kind of like, because I'm not sure what they're going to do with Tulo yet. I don't know if they're just going to say, you know what, he's kind of a big body guy. We can move him to first. We can play Gleyber at short. We can play Andujar at third, and we can see if Andujar, because he's been working really hard this offseason to be a better third baseman, see if he can actually step up. And then they're going to figure out which of these two they're going to trade to figure out. Like, if Andujar is not stepping up, then what they do is, all right, time to trade Andujar. He can go over to Colorado, and you get Nolan Arenado. Obviously, going to impart some other talent too, because
there's a lot of other.
But
that ain't going to be enough.
But then you move. Then you have Gleyber Torres, who's playing short at the time or whatever, and then you have Nolan Arenado playing third, and Didi will be playing short, and you'll have DJ LeMahieu playing second. You'll have somebody like maybe Tulo or something like that at first. There is options. There's options out there. And then DJ LeMahieu can bounce all over the place. And they could make Gleyber Torres a kind of like what they were saying, an uber infielder. He could just kind of keep bouncing around and giving everybody. I do think that he's a better defensive player than Andujar. But he just doesn't have much range. That's why I think third base suits him the best.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting how they balance those two young kids and seeing what they do with those two kids.
It feels like one of
they're going to move. I don't know if they're going to move Torres to left field. I have no idea what they're going to do. I have no idea.
It does feel like one of them's an odd man out eventually, but
it has to be. There's no room. There's going to be
unless, like you said, one of them ends up in the outfield.
Right,
you know.
and that's a little scary because we're so used to having, as much as we kind of trashed Brett Gardner last year because he is old. He's done. Offensively, he's pretty much done.
It's a $9 million cheerleader.
But he has been always a top-notch, one of the best left fielders in the game. He's one of the three best left fielders in the game every year. And he has been for like 10 years. So,
and a great teammate.
Yes, he's a great
teammate. Good clubhouse guy. I mean,
good leader, all that. Yeah,
he's a good leader, a champion, all that stuff.
But he's an offensive liability now.
Without a doubt.
So that's kind of where we're at. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do. But I'm excited. I'm excited.
And I'm not going to say that you and I are in the minority because I believe we're part of a split. But you and I think, are very happy with the current outlook of this team and the way that this
Manny Machado.
They absolutely did not.
You need more pitching and better defense.
So you know what was interesting? I saw on the Yankees Daily group this morning, right? Mm-hmm. I won't name any names, but there was somebody who put a post
you made of it.
The post. There was a no.
But there was a post that you made, and I it's not that I know, but there was a post and it made me almost fall out of my chair.
Oh.
And I sent you a text. I sent you a picture of it, and you just responded with a laugh. But yeah.
To be fair, though, the post that I'm about to reference is from the same guy.
Yeah, I figured.
It's from that guy. So I think he said something like this. Saying the Yankees can't afford Machado or Harper is like saying Bill Gates can't afford a Lamborghini. Okay. Here's the thing, though. Just because you can afford a Lamborghini, does that mean you would buy a Lamborghini? Does that mean you have to get said Lamborghini?
And I would say that Bill Gates has a lot more money than the Yankees, so it would be it wouldn't be just buying a Lamborghini. It would be buying a fleet of Lamborghinis.
Right. It's actually really not a great analogy, yes, because it's not really relative in terms of what one guy has versus what this team has. Yeah. Bill Gates is worth more than the Yankees are. But
he doesn't have a salary cap.
Right, and right, he has right. So, but ultimately what it comes down to is just because you can afford this shiny object, that does not mean you have to have it.
Right.
Now, look,
some of the best moves are the ones that aren't done.
And I believe wholeheartedly that Manny Machado falls into the addition by subtraction category. I really do, because you know how I am. I'm such a heart gut guy, and I believe that a guy like Manny Machado gets into your clubhouse and kills it from the inside out. And I know a lot of people will roll their eyes about that because they think he's a generational talent, but I'm sorry. To me, that's just a guy who gets into your clubhouse, and between his actions off the field and his occasional dirty play and lack of hustle on the field, I'm sorry, but I just think that that's the kind of guy you want to avoid. And it's especially the kind of guy you want to avoid tying up a ton of your payroll in. I mean, it'd be one thing. I mean, even if he was making $10 million a year, I still wouldn't want a guy like that on my team. I'm sorry. He was a guy I never, ever wanted. If they had gotten Harper, I would have been like, unnecessary, but cool, because I like Bryce Harper. And also, I believe Bryce Harper was way, way more needed in their lineup than Manny Machado. How many right-handed bats do the Yankees need? I mean, I like Tulowitzki, and I do like LeMahieu, but they're both also right-handed bats. Yes. They just added 2 more right-handed bats to a team that already had way too many right-handed bats. That's why I thought it was so puzzling that Cashman just sort of brushed off the idea of Bryce Harper. You couldn't have used a left-handed bat in your lineup? I mean, even if you didn't get Harper, you didn't pursue a left-handed bat this year. I mean, look, and I like LeMahieu, but I still think Marwin Gonzalez would have been the better guy. Marwin Gonzalez might have cost more. Unfortunately, we can forget about Marwin Gonzalez. That's not going to happen. LeMahieu and Tulowitzki now basically cement that infield. You're not going to bring Marwin Gonzalez, even though Marwin Gonzalez is a Swiss Army knife, you're not going to bring him in to play the outfield. Unfortunately, I have to let go of that dream because he was the guy I really wanted this offseason. It didn't happen. But you got your guy, and I am happy for you for that. And I also like DJ LeMahieu a lot. So
he's a hit machine.
But you and I are in that boat. We're in whatever the other half is that likes what the Yankees have done this offseason, thinks that. And here's the other thing. Don't get too crazy about the fact that the Yankees were cheap. Their payroll is $220 million. They're a top 5 payroll. Mm-hmm. They're not cheap. They spent a lot this offseason. They brought in a lot of guys.
100.
So.
I just want to read something, and this is why I didn't think that they needed him. I didn't think they needed Manny Machado. Manny Machado's numbers this year: 632 at bats, 84 runs scored, 188 hits, 297 batting average, 37 home runs, 107 RBIs. Right? That's good. That's really good.
Good,
but with Miguel Andujar, 573 at-bats, 83 runs scored, 170 hits, 297 batting average, 27 home runs, 92 RBIs.
And the difference between the two guys is roughly $30 million.
Yeah, it's like 10 home runs.
He
also didn't play as many. He didn't have as many at-bats. He had 100 less at-bats.
Right, and I'm sorry, but there are not enough errors that Miguel Andujar can make to make me think he's worth $30 million. I mean, to make me think that Machado's worth $30 million.
It's not that big of an upgrade. That's what we were talking about the whole time.
Not offensively, it's not.
Right. Defensively, it would have been big. But you know what? There were other options, and there are better options, I feel, in the future, and Nolan Arenado is one of those options. I would prefer Anthony Rendon, because I think he'll be even cheaper than Arenado, but I just think he's a better defensive player, and I think he's a better surefire bet as an offensive player.
My brother had a theory that he texted me after the LeMahieu signing because he said that to him he felt like this had to be a precursor to something else, and he might be right. And he said maybe not that I know this is so hard for me too because and you may know where I'm going with this, but maybe they're going to now dangle because maybe Andujar wasn't enough of a chip, but maybe they'll now maybe they'll dangle Glaber for Mad Bum because maybe that's what it's going to take to get him.
Oh, all right.
Now, here's the thing. You know how I feel about Madison Bumgarner. He's my favorite pitcher in baseball by a mile, and he's maybe like my second overall favorite player, if not my favorite. It really is going to depend on what happens with Red Thunder there, but would I make that deal, essentially? I'm sure the Yankees would have to chip in a couple of other pieces, but nothing significant. Do I make that deal? Yeah, in a heartbeat. I have to. Because to me, as far as I can see it, the Yankees still have yet to make a response to the Red Sox for getting Chris Sale a few years ago. If you look at, and I'm sorry, but like the Red Sox got Schilling, they won a World Series, then the Yankees got Randy Johnson. The Red Sox got Chris Sale, and the Yankees have yet to make that counter move, that counter punch. And I think the only guy who could do it, I think the only guy who can truly restore order to this universe is to get Madison Bumgarner. And I know that he comes with question marks, but I have to make that trade. I don't know about you, but I have to make that trade.
It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
I don't know if that really applies to
it. Does. We got hit last year, and we got knocked down.
I suppose.
And we got to get up, and we got to keep moving forward.
Well,
all right, that thing is the sign Mad Bum. Let's sign him.
So in other words, you would make that trade.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Yes, absolutely. Mad Bum? Hell yeah.
So you're on board with that, okay. I mean, so it's like a no-brainer for both of us. Trade Gleyber Torres, who has, had a nice rookie year and looks like the real deal. But imagine a rotation of Mad Bum, Severino, Tanaka.
Mad Bum would step on the hill opening day, or like the first time that they stepped in there and played the Red Sox, and he'd point at him, and he'd be like,
"Well, let me tell you something, brother."
And then he would shut them down.
He wouldn't do that. He would just get them out with his amazing stuff.
Yes.
But can you imagine a playoff rotation of Mad Bum, Paxton, Severino, and Tanaka? Holy crap! And Jay Happ is like he's not even on your playoff rotation.
It'd be six-man roster. Yeah.
Oh my God!
That's what I've been looking for. I've been looking for the six-man rotation. That's what I want on this team. They all need it. All right.
I would do it in a heartbeat.
Thank you guys
and I love Gleyber.
Thank you guys for listening to the show today. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Shane and the Bryman. You can hit us up on Twitter at Shane and Bryman. You can find me on Twitter at Einhorn and Finkel.
You can find me on Twitter at _Bry_man.
And of course, you can visit our website where we're at www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com. That's where all our social media stuff is, everything like that. And I haven't told Brian this, but what I'm thinking about doing is making Monday's show the only show that we actually put on the podcast, and the Saturday show is strictly for the YouTube channel. So I'm thinking about doing that. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We'll have a little discussion about that, and we'll see what's going on. Because I think...
What are you doing with your fingers? What is happening right now?
I got to...
Ooh, hey, look at the time.
I got to get that clip. What are you doing with your fingers?
That's a drop.
What are you doing with your fingers?
They did a great. I was listening to the Howard Stern show this morning, and they do this every year. But throughout the year, they compile all of the things that Howard says he hates, and then they just run them all together in a long clip. And it is so. They did it last year, and then I heard it this morning because they did one for this year, and it's so funny. I hate Halloween. I hate this. It's just hilarious. Like the list of things he goes up and down. And there was actually a lot of repetition between last year's and this year's, but it's really funny. The things he hates. Like if you have the Sirius XM app, I bet you could find that clip. Mm-hmm. It's really funny.
It's probably on YouTube. They probably put it on YouTube already.
Yeah, it's probably on YouTube, yeah. Things Howard Stern hates. It's just one after another. They just compile it throughout the year. It's really great.
All right. We'll see you again on Saturday. Definitely on the YouTube channel. Maybe in the podcast form. We'll see. But, iTunes, iHeartRadio, all those places.
Stay classy, Planet Club.
Double D.
What are you doing with your four fingers?
What are you doing with your fingers?